Chris Eubank Jr. In the driving seat. So go on.
Yeah, so we look at Eubank Jr. First time he's got the full control of the whole situation, and he agrees to the maddest rehydration clause for his body at that time. It puts him in danger damn near, and it's nuts. He then jumps straight into a fight with Liam Smith, straight afterwards. Not really registering the impacts of what that looked like.
Because the body, when you went down,
everything changed. The coaching staff situation, choosing Roy as a trainer and just really digging your heels in and thinking that's the one. Like, there's a lot of things that he's done now on his own that's made Senior probably just go, see, I was right. You should have just listened to me.
You can't drive.
But the problem is, even when I was with you, I wasn't reaching those heights you promised.
No, but then what I will say is where Senior may have had a point is it was a better version of Junior in terms of, he said he taught him patience, but then the aggressiveness is gone. He said the quick hands, the quick speed, and this, that, and the other. And that is
that's true.
Junior's best attribute is how quick and lightning he is, and is like, if he actually give that punch output that we think he could show.
You should have beaten Liam Smith, in my opinion.
He's beaten a lot of people, not just Liam. He's reaching them levels.
It's easy for us to say that. That's not entirely true, because when he lost to Billy Joe, when he lost to George Groves, there was holes in his game that these guys were being able to exploit. Billy Joe, not so much, because it was more a case of like,
he started late,
the panic in the stamina situation. I think he had real concerns about his engine. With George Groves, like, yeah, you man scrapped, but George Groves was beating you pretty much with a jab all night. The last round, Billy Joe's arm went out and he couldn't take him out. There's still a gap in his game that wasn't at
George
world level.
Eubank
Jr.'s game.
Yeah.
That means he's not world level. So something had to change. It's a case of just knowing what. Now, it's one of those things where I guess he's probably looked at like, I've done my whole career underneath your wings, and I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? I've not turned out to be this person. So I'm going to try it this way. Now, you would like for your dad to still be supportive so that way he's still in the camp and a new element gets added, but Eubank Sr. just stepped away.
Because he can't deal, it's the ego.
That's right. So let's go back to the press conference now when Eubank Jr. and Conor has announced the fight, and they're sitting there.
Yeah.
And he's like, will your dad be in the corner? And he's like, I don't know. I haven't spoken to him. That moment says, okay, maybe he wants Eubank in the thing as the third voice.
Because I'm doing this for you. This is still about you. This is your story. I'm not fighting Conor Ben for no reason.
But Eubank Sr. says, you wouldn't have this fight if it wasn't for me. He probably also said, you wouldn't be anything in this game if it wasn't for me.
Well, he said it.
That's what I mean. So then he's like, nah, I ain't being the third voice. Are you crazy? That's insane. So there's a stubbornness where it's like, okay, but if this thing is not working with you, you're saying it guaranteed isn't going to work. I don't like it.
It's like but then he talks about, there's many things they talk about, and you see the way he's framed as a man, right? He talks about the warrior code and things that warriors should do. And he's looking at his son like, you've had it too easy. It's mad because he says stuff like, I couldn't believe it. It's soft. If the soft life, it creates parasites. And, and I said, Jesus, because you can't. A parasite, don't even type with the meaning of that. It's a nasty term.
And the thing is, it's mad because it's that phrase that, how he's put it is a spin-off of the phrase where it's like, hard times create strong men.
Yeah.
Soft times create weak men.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's that cycle of things. So he's obviously alluding to himself being the hard guy and creating the soft times for Eubank Jr. to enjoy those times.
And he will never be.
He'll never be what I am.
He'll never be what I am. And it's a shame because you've given him.
But then it's weird because it contradicts the fact that he then simultaneously tells us that he's elite. Junior's elite and should be all these things.
Because again, I'm trying to talk to my son. I'm trying to tell you, listen, you're good, but you could be better. And the only way you're better is with me.
So let's go back when we spoke to him in Vegas.
Yeah.
He was having these grievances from then.
For long.
Remember the stress in that man's face when we asked him about, your boys in the boxing thing, what's happening? And he started telling us, when the father has the child, and he started giving us this round away, and we're like, bro, give it to us straight. And he's like, there's certain mistakes that are being made. And if they can't hear, how y'all gonna feel? And he started going off, and we're just like, wait a minute. There's a lot of discontent here. Over time, as men find their voices, he's not gonna keep just accepting that I'm gonna listen to you forever.
Yeah.
At some point, he's gonna say, actually, you might be wrong.
I think good parenting is knowing when to step back.
It's knowing when to step back.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good parent is knowing when to step back and say, okay. You know, like, I don't even...
You show me then.
Remember, you used to get beats back in the day when you was younger, yeah? You know when your mom just realized, I ain't going to beat you no more. You know what I mean? There's a moment for, like, with parents that they're like, I can't hit you.
That's
anymore.
not going to be the thing.
That's stupid, right? My mom didn't do it. My mom was a talker. She'd take you down emotionally. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then there's a moment, and it has to. We all have to register this moment that something has changed in this young person, and the development, the things that we're giving you, they're good now, it's the trust. And what the sad thing for me is the trust. The sad thing for me is you still as a parent then, and don't get me wrong, because I'm in the early stage of parenting, but in terms of my work and stuff, I feel like a parent to many young kids that have come through the system, right? And there is that moment where you say, look, I have to allow you to make this mistake. And just when you drop, just
I'll still
try
be there
and catch you.
I'll still be there to support. Yeah, but the problem is when there's a few things at play here. So there's one thing where you say, you tell a child to do this, trust me, because I want you to grow up like this. Trust me. So when they grow, they see the results of trusting you.
Yes.
They have to see those results so that they can have that convo. It's like, you know, when you said it to me at the time, I didn't really think it was real, but as time went on, you were right. Yeah. Those moments, they're important as well. Yeah. Because if you get to a point where it's like, I listened to you and I just literally missed out on life. So now I'm looking at everybody else who they did their own thing and they didn't do what you said. Yeah. And they're happy. They've moved on and progressed and I'm still here. That breeds a very bad seed. So let's put that in boxing terms for Eubank Jr. I've listened to what you said about the Warriors Code. I've listened to what you said about the training. I've listened to what you said about the stoicism and being this dedicated fighter. And people laugh at me. Oh, shit. They laugh at me with the IBO belt that you said I've got to make valuable because you made the WBO valuable. You said they didn't respect the WBO when you had it, so I got to do this with the IBO. The IBO still don't have no respect. They don't call me a world champion, Dad. So I've got to go and do what these men are doing. That's the energy that we're seeing play out. Damn. You understand? So then what happens is now he's going, okay, tried it your way. I want to go my way, but I would like you to still be in the game. He's then pushed away and said, you don't know nothing. Of all the things that we've done together all this time, to say that I'm nothing without you, that says to me, you don't even trust your own parenting. You don't trust that I have any of the minerals that you've given to me over the years. Yeah. And now you're telling me I'm nothing without you, and everything I've ever done was because of you. And even when I failed when I was with you, it's because I didn't listen. That means you can never fail. It's mad. Listen, check this out. And I think I've told this story before, but it reigns true in my memory in terms of a moment with me and my dad. I'll never forget it, and especially with Nigerian culture. I remember I was saving for a house, right? And I told my dad, I'm going to go, me and my wife are going to stay with her mum and save for our house, save for our mortgage. Yeah. My dad said, it is impossible. You can never do it. You're going to live where? With your mother-in-law. He said, you're not doing it. I said, Dad, well, I didn't tell you I didn't ask you for permission. I'm just letting you be informed of my decision. It's happening. You know what I'm saying? Mad. He looked at me like, but what's crazy is when I saved for my house deposit and came back, I was different to, there's many kids like rent. Right. I was different. It's like, it didn't work until the proof of, I showed him my house. I said, well, Dad, look at my house now. Are you with me? But I know that was a moment for him. Like, and people wanted to talk to me. There was family members that came to speak to me, said, that's not what Nigerian men do. Literally, they're telling me I've gone against the code of thingy. But I said, listen. The Warriors Code? I went against the Warriors Code, the Nigerian code, whatever code you want to go. I went against it. Yeah. And I know that it was contention, bro. Like, it was a conversation that they wanted to have, but they knew I weren't budging. Yeah. And I said, Dad, I'm you. So how am I going to budge out this if you wouldn't budge? When you're guaranteed in your feeling, it's happening. You're stubborn. So what are you expecting from me then? Yeah. You had to eat. There was no more words said. Simple. Yeah. You know what I mean? No more words said. Again, I think that is it's sad because I really now I wish more for Eubank. But more than anything,
they need to heal as a family.
And it's, bro.
They need to heal as a family. They do.
And it's like, I got an experience with my dad, which at the time was very like, rah, I've never been this angry in my life, fam.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my first one-man show, 2014, right? Booked the theater out, I'm promoting the show. And my dad says to me, kind of at the booth, like, why are you doing this show? And I was like, nah, I think it's time for me to take a step in my career. Do you know what I mean? Da-da-da-da. He's like, okay, well, I'll be honest with you. The last 2 times I saw you perform this year was mediocre. I was like, what?
Oh my God.
Brother, I'm going mad. I'm thinking, wait a minute, you don't see me killing shows. I'm killing shows. All these shows, you don't even come to all the shows. Yeah, I was mad. I was like, what are you talking about? This is a moment of learning the lesson of what is trying to be instilled. But at the same time, I'm hearing, I'm thinking, this is last night, straight up. I mean? I want to just, so I'm like, nah, I'm not even processing this message at all. It just feels like disrespect. I just feel like, nah, this don't make no sense. So I leave, and I probably left abrupt. Like, do you know what I mean? I remember taking my daughter home, and I had a gig that night, Streatham Comedy Club.
You killed that gig, innit?
I went there, and I turned that place upside down, fam. And it's mad because, you know, in that moment of me killing it, I was texting him to let him know, yo, I just put this show on his head, like I just did a madness. And the maddest thing is, what he was trying to basically say to me that I wasn't trying to hear in the conversation was, if you are going to do this, you need to be consistent. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I can go see Dave Chappelle on this night, that night, and this night, and guarantee that he's going to deliver.
Okay, this Dave Chappelle.
If you're going to put your head on the block, make sure you can guarantee it. This isn't about some nights this, some nights that. Make sure it's on point. That lesson with me, brother, every single show, smoke. I'm giving 100%. If you ever see me have a bad show, know I gave 100%. And it worked. That's how it worked. But that lesson for me was give 100 every single time and never assume nothing.
And that's the lesson.
Learning.
Imagine that's from the.
But this is the thing though, of like learning the lesson, and that now makes me go, when I come to you for advice, I can trust what you're gonna give me. You now with junior and senior, he's not trusting the advice anymore. Yeah,
but then it's different, you know, and it's like, you know, when we talk, because it's mad, we're talking from two different sides of the road, isn't it?
Yeah.
And one talking about a relationship that is very secure in terms of you and your dad. I've seen how you and your dad operate with each other. Well, mine is unorthodox.
Okay,
that's the best. That's the best term. And when you look at the relationship there, it is one of unorthodox, because even Junior start, he went to America. You know, his dad told him, "Don't be this life." His dad almost told him, "I don't want you to do this. Don't be me." You know what I mean?
He came through the fire.
He came through. So he went through the fire. So the charlatan thing's absolutely insane, actually, because he's come through this thing, and it's like, nah, this kid is a success. The one thing we have to say is, regardless of whatever you want to say, this kid is a success. He is. He is. Point blank,
100%
clear.
And it's irritating me, right? So let's go into the pic. Eubank Sr. tweets afterwards, because he mentioned something about Adam Booth injecting the needle into his knuckle, right? And, you know, because he's talking about Conor. He's like, Conor, they wouldn't have known because, you know, the fighters, they don't know what goes on. So Spike Sullivan's come out, because that's the fight. And the matter thing is, that's the fight
the best
where
fight he's looked.
Everyone goes back to that fight and says, Eubank from there.
My favourite fight.
So to go back into it and just literally undo it and say, nah, there was some interference. So he goes, the reason why I didn't report it to the authorities is because I believed Adam Booth, as Chris Eubank Jr. did have knuckle issues. I was livid because Adam Booth is not qualified to be injecting anyone with anything. And it's absolutely insane that he's put a selfie of himself on the tweet for no reason whatsoever. Then he goes to TalkSport, the confusion about the needle that was in Eubank Jr.'s knuckle being administered by Adam Booth behind the curtains at the weigh-in is a truth that neither Adam nor Jr. would deny. After my shock and expletives, Adam said it's hydrocortisone. And I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking to myself, now we're on a sabotage journey.
Yeah.
To be revealing these things. And it's like, you know, I'm not even here to get into the conversation about, oh, but that's not what you do. I don't care at this point. This is like a life conversation. And I'm like, Roy, you're really sabotaging your son. Now we're in a toxic space. And I want to give the grace to Senior to say, I know he's not in the best mental place himself. And, you know, I feel like Eubank Jr.'s silence is deafening for a reason. Because it's like, I'm not going to address the situation, because you imagine, your parent is in this public space, but you know they're not right. I can't even clap back.
This is the best he's looked, though.
Who?
I'm going to say he sounds like he's I hear that
he looked together.
I ain't
in
gonna
the
lie,
interview.
because sometimes, nah, man.
Nah,
Sometimes I don't know, man. I like you. Sometimes you want to see the best. I get you want to see the best in someone, yeah. But sometimes people do effed up things.
No,
You know what I mean? Sometimes
that.
it's that because even if like you wouldn't say stupid things about yourself, you're good enough to tell us this, that, and the other, so you can be concise in some of these moments. And here with me, you make the choice to not be. That means you're moving mad. Because if you can correct me and say how you're speaking to me is wrong, that means you know the difference between right and wrong. So now in this moment, you are doing something wrong, but you don't care. So let's not, what you call it? Let's not dress it up as we get into our mental health back. Because no, bro, at this moment, you're doing wrong. You said something that nobody asked you for. You went there with a further agenda. They weren't trying to focus on your son like that. Then after worse is you actually protect another son. You say, Connor, I believe him. And then you throw your son into the thing. Are you mad? That's mad. And then my son is trying to my son is trying to keep the legacy that you set before me. That is mad, bro. Nah, man. And at the end of the day, Junior's looking for acceptance. Senior wants to be accepted in a certain way. Madness. I'll drop a bomb for myself on that one.
Hence why he felt vindicated to be selected by the Queen.
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Look at that. Look at that.
It's sad. That's why when I started, it's sad.
You're right.
This is it.
You're right. I never knew it was going to get here. And then, again, from content levels, I was just excited about raw content, you know what I mean? But in this, the grand story of it is sad because there is bereavement along the way. Again, prayers to these guys. I hope they fix it.
Hope they resolve
I really hope they resolve this because...
Yeah, that's a big boxing family, man. I want to see them kind of back together and strong again.
Yo, people, thanks for watching the Undefeated podcast. Make sure you
like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and all that good stuff, man. This is the place to be.